Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's episode of Real Talk with Pastor Liana. Today we're going to be talking about faith. I know you've heard the word faith a lot, but people don't always explain to you what faith means or how to even use it in your everyday life. I know growing up, I've heard people say, oh, just have faith, but they haven't really explained to me what that means or how I live that out in my everyday life. And as I've grown up and as I've matured in my relationship with God, I realized that faith is not some blind decision that you make. It's not just this, oh, take a risk. Like, no, faith has a source and faith has an object. And so as Christians, we're very clear that God is the object of our faith. So when you have faith, you're not just taking some blind risk. You're saying, hey, my faith is based on God's credibility. My faith is based on God's nature. My faith is based on who God is. And so today I want to talk about, well, since you should have faith, what are two ways to build your faith? I believe that faith is built in two primary ways. Let's talk about the first way. The first way that faith or confidence or hope is built, because those are synonyms, is through your human memory. I know this sounds very basic, but it's true. What do I mean by that? I want to show you a way that I build my faith. So I have this little jar right here. I call it my gratitude jar. You can call it your faith jar, whatever you want. But what I do is every time God does something for me, every time he answers a prayer, every time I see God move in my life, I write it down on a little color paper like this. And then I put it in this jar. And what that does for me is I'm able to take a record of God's behavior in my life, his consistency, his track record, so that when I'm in a moment of doubt, a moment of uncertainty, a moment of fear about a decision that I have to make, I pull out my jar and I start reading those cards, because what those cards do is they remind me of who God has been the past month, the past week, the past year. And the reason why I use that jar is because I'm not going to always remember in that moment everything God has done. But if I've already written it down, then I have a source that I can just recall immediately to build my faith, to strengthen my confidence in who God has been. So it helps me to move forward in what feels like this unknown moment in time, whether that's just starting a business, whether you're applying to school, whatever it is that you're afraid of or you don't feel like you have the faith or the confidence to move forward in. One of the best ways to take a leap of faith is to pull from God's track record in your life. The second way that you build your faith is surrounding yourself by a community of believers. Hebrews 12:1 talks about us having a cloud of witnesses. Yes, those cloud of witnesses are also talking about our biblical pillars, people of faith in the Bible, but I believe it also talks about the men and women that God puts in our life today. Because even though you have your own track record with God, there will be some things that you face in your life that you have no reference point for. For me, it was when I lost my dad. Even though God had gotten me through so much in my life, this particular pain, this particular trauma, this particular sorrow, I had never experienced anything like it. And what happened that helped strengthen my faith was I had other men and women in my life who too had lost a parent or too had lost someone really close to them. And even though their presence didn't take away the pain, me being able to see their strength at that point in their life, what it said to me was, Liana, even though this is really hard, it doesn't have to take you out. It doesn't have to be the end of your story. This sorrow doesn't have to lead you into a deep depression and a deep hole, that you can keep going. And so it is very, very important that you do not feel like you have to live your life on an island. I've heard a pastor say there are no successful Christian islands. And what that means is God has built us for community. God has put us in each other's lives, whether that's a church community, whether that's your peers who are journeying with you. As long as they have a strong relationship with God, they can help you through difficult circumstances, or even a youth group, a Bible study, a small group. You need to get connected with other believers who can help you when your faith is low, who can strengthen you in their testimonies with God when you don't think you have the confidence to move forward. So first of all, you need to know what faith is. Faith is not this blind leap. Faith is making a decision in your right now based on God's character. So even though you don't know what the future is going to be, you rely on who God is to help you make that decision today. Secondly, you got to take a record of who God has been in your life so far. If you've never done that, start today. Get you a jar, get you some note cards, and just write what God has done this week. and put that in that jar. And as you move forward throughout the rest of this year, intentionally make time to record how God has showed up. That could be answered prayers. That could be God doing things for you that you didn't even ask him to do. That could be a great conversation with a friend that helped you shift your thinking. It doesn't have to be the miraculous things. God shows up in every little area of your life, and you need to take a record of it. And the third thing is you need to have your faith-based, Christian-based, godly community of people that can help strengthen you as you continue to move forward. Thank you for watching today's episode of Real Talk with Liana. I really hope that there was something that helped strengthen your faith and your confidence, that there's some tools that you can use to move forward in your relationship with Christ. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at @thereal_ministry for ongoing encouragement and inspiration through your week. I will check you guys out next time.